Vampires, they're kind of elitist jerk.
I mean, she's a little dommy.
Go on.
Know, for me.
Werewolves are kind of white trash. Let's be honest.
They're not.
You know, if you sign on to be an actor on True Blood, you're going to show your ass.
Which brings us to where Cyclops is.
Where does Cyclops? So many good lines in this episode, and all of them involving fuck. Half man, 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 half man. I'm too lazy to do a podcast, so I appear on other people's podcasts. This is PodCRASH with that Chris Gore. Welcome to the show. I am that Chris Gore. This is PodCRASH. I was off last week, but now I am back. But I was off last week for a very good reason. I was actually at Star Wars Celebration in Orlando, Florida, which I know a lot of you went to. And what a load of fun. I mean, it was great. You know, when Lucasfilm calls you and says, hey, we want you to host this show. It's kind of a show or talk show, but it's all about Star Wars. Sign me up. So I was drafted. But had a great time. I learned how to do. I like to learn something I don't know how to do, like American Sign Language, and I learned how to sign Star Wars and what the sign for Princess Leia is, which is basically you take your hands and make like two buns on the side of your head. That's the ASL sign for Princess Leia. But it was a blast just talking to fans, everything Star Wars, the new stuff that's coming up, which is Star Wars Detours, which is Seth Green and Matt Senreich's new show. I just hanging with everybody. It was incredible. So if you want to see what I was up to there, you might be shocked, but there's I will share a gallery of photographs on the Facebook page, facebook.com/podcrash. I'll share this gallery of photos, which does include, yes, me in a Slave Leia bikini. More on that in a future show. There's a reason that happened, but it has nothing to do with losing a bet. But in any case, I was there, and it was just an incredible time with everyone. And you can check out more videos if you go to youtube.com/Star Wars, but just a fantastic time. So that having to do that actually derailed a little bit of me doing the show on a regular basis. So I apologize, but this week you're going to get a couple shows, some bonus shows coming up. And this week in a PodCRASH first, I am crashing 3 podcasts. That's right, 3 podcasts on one show. Never been done before. Here it is. It's happening. 3 podcasts, AfterBuzz TV. Perhaps you've heard of it. It's a podcast network, and I was on 3 of their shows. And AfterBuzz TV, what they do is they basically take the enthusiasm that people have for certain TV shows, like Mad Men, True Blood, Game of Thrones, which are the AfterBuzz shows that I crash, and they get people who are very impassioned. They get hosts on there, and they get some very interesting guests, and then they talk about it just like any of us would after we watch one of our favorite shows. So what's cool is, and I should tell you, this company is actually owned by Maria Menounos and Menounos. Is it Menounos or Menounos? I don't know. All I know is that I've heard her on the Howard Stern show, and she has this very distinct laugh, which, here's the laugh. Some people describe it, it's like a billy goat. It's very cute. And although I feel like I've never met Maria, but I guess her boyfriend, who's also a partner in the company AfterBuzz TV, is Kevin Undergaro, and he claims, because I was on a show with him, this Mad Men AfterBuzz TV Mad Men show, he claims that Maria and I met at South by Southwest years ago, and I don't remember, which is typical of me with, no, I met you at this one party. If you met me at a party, there's a really good chance I'm going to be familiar with your face and go, yeah, what was the context? When we met, it was the one time. But Maria Menounos she's a TV host. She's like a beauty pageant queen. She was on a show called Dancing with the Stars, a show I never watch. And I'll bet that is there an AfterBuzz TV show on Dancing with the Stars? In any case, what they have set up is this incredible company where they've actually basically bought a house, and they've turned the house into several recording. There's like 3 recording studios and viewing studios. So you go in there, and what you do is, and I'll post pictures on the Facebook page just so you can check this out. But you go into their house, and they've got they've got like this area where you can go and watch the show that you're going to talk about. That sounds cool. So you'll watch, say, the latest episode of Game of Thrones or Mad Men or True Blood. 3 shows that I really like. 3 shows that I have opinions about. So you watch the show with your group of people who you'll be on the show with that day. Take a lot of notes, go into a studio, and you instantly record your thoughts, which is posted as a podcast. So it's pretty cool. What a brilliant setup. There are after shows on television like The Talking Dead and whatnot, but this is they've dedicated this to all of the popular shows out there. So kudos to Kevin and Maria for building this organization and for taking podcasting seriously. So I've been an infrequent guest. I was on a couple episodes. So I'll just drop by if I'm in the area, actually, and there's something good on. And they've got the when we did the Mad Men episode, we sat and it was a projection HD huge screen. I don't know. It must have been like 12, 15 feet. Huge for a home screen. And it was great to sit there. It was like watching a movie, which I feel like with every great episode of Mad Men, you feel like you've watched a feature film set in the 60s. So you will hear highlights from my appearances on all 3 of those shows. It's going to be short little bursts of highlights from those shows, and I hope you enjoy. But I also hope you just check out more stuff from AfterBuzz. Wait, you know what I forgot? Couple plugs. I'm going to be at Dragon Con this weekend, August 31st through September 3rd, and I am doing so many panels and whatnot. You just have to go to dragoncon.org, and I'm doing like a bunch of events. Just go to dragoncon.org. I believe you can click on the guests and you can click on who, what I'm doing. But I will be around, and I'm going to be in costume too. I will be in costume. So we'll talk about that another time. Also, want to tell you about our YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com/PodCRASH TV, and you can check out exclusive video clips. And also, we're having this contest now where you can sing the PodCRASH theme song. And then I want you to say, there's too many podcasts. Record yourself on video. I don't care where. Just make sure the audio is decent. But, just record yourself on video. And you can email. Now you can email us. PodCRASHwiththatChrisGore@gmail.com. How did I get that one? PodCRASHwiththatChrisGore@gmail.com. Put in the subject line PodCRASH TV if you want to enter this contest. I haven't come up with the prize yet, but I know it's going to be a good one. It will be a good prize. Something good. And then also, if you just want to drop us a line, PodCRASHwiththatChrisGore@gmail.com. I'll read your letters on the show. I will respond to things. We're definitely going to do an episode where we just respond to questions that you guys have about PodCRASH and why in the hell I was in a Slave Leia outfit at Star Wars Celebration this weekend. And there's a very good explanation. There is a very good explanation. So please enter the PodCRASH video contest. The deadline is just before the end of this year. So you got plenty of time. But the sooner you send it in, the better. One final plug. We've been doing live events at IO West. Our second PodCRASH live will be Saturday, September 22nd at 7:30 p.m. That's at IO West, 6366 Hollywood Boulevard. You can get tickets at ioimprov.com/west. That's ioimprov.com/west. Come out. You can't escape that Maria laugh. It's infectious. Maria. Yeah. In any case, so as I said before, I was on 3 shows: Game of Thrones, Mad Men, and True Blood. I was on the season finale episode of Game of Thrones and Mad Men, and then True Blood, it was the first episode, and I had just sworn off True Blood. I said I was never going to watch it again. I was sick of it. That thing had jumped the coffin, so to speak, and I did not want to watch the show. I happened to be there that night for a different reason. They asked me to be on the show, having even not seen the episode, but I asked them to convince me to watch True Blood. So the first thing is the AfterBuzz TV Game of Thrones, and it was hosted by a guy named Dave Klein. Other guests were Kristen Snyder and Bethany Gaber were on with me. It was a great conversation, a lot of fun. Who's not into genre stuff doesn't love Game of Thrones? It definitely is a more adult Lord of the Rings. I love the fact that it's very complex. I love the fact that at least once a show, I have to turn to someone I'm watching it with and go, who's that guy again? Who's that chick? Yes, I can't be the only one. My only complaint about that show is just too many characters. But I do love the fact that they realize that it's an adult show, it's genre, it's bloody, gory, and a healthy dose of nudity. So here it is, AfterBuzz TV, the Game of Thrones AfterBuzz on AfterBuzz TV. Maria, stop. Maria.
So let us get started with war. We start off with the Baratheons, with Stannis looking out as he's sailing to attack the Mudgate. This is our introductory shot. What did you guys think?
When are they all going to fight? And what's the strategy? And yeah, I also thought of like, if you ever played any board games that have war elements to them.
Risk.
I thought, exactly. How would I play it? Stratego-wise. If this were Stratego,
Battleship.
what am I going to do? Battleship.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of tanked. But, I'm just saying. So it was a total surprise. I love that. Like I didn't expect, what happened to happen. Fire.
I really feel like I could take a city now. I mean, that entire episode.
You're empowered by this. I love it.
I was taking notes. I'm like, first of all, you stand on your ship, you assess it, you gather your men, you watch out for the tricks.
Make sure you have your dragon fire, because you're really nothing without that.
Wildfire.
I just want to call it dragon fire for some reason.
That'll be coming, right? In future episodes, as we're teased.
Wildfire. Sorry, guys.
And say fuck a lot. I think that's pretty much like, how many speeches? Your tally of fuck was what, 12?
12, and then I stopped.
You stopped counting.
That was about 10 minutes into the show.
Like occasionally flash someone. I feel like that's the combination. Like sword, blood, flash somebody, some fire, and like that wraps up the episode.
Yes,
I've got 3 on my boob checklist. That's pretty much 3 checks on boob.
He does. He made a boob
3 actually,
checklist.
and butt. I had to start a butt one because
that's six boobs. Right?
I think if there was going to be a 30-second version of this, that's what it would be.
Yeah.
I think Tyrion's speech at the end, his final note was, "Let's go fuck them in the ass." I think that's so. There we go. That's the morale
Someone
speech.
Start a tally
of the
for
day.
this show.
I give that speech on Fridays. That's pretty much like my Friday. Just a Friday speech.
Do it, guys.
Not to do with
Not
war.
a Monday
just
speech. I thought it'd be a Monday speech.
not
to
a
get
Monday
people rallied.
speech. But it was great. It was sort of like an abbreviated. It was like, you know what? I don't have time to give that big Braveheart speech. I'm going to do the tweet version of that speech. So it worked.
I'm going to be watching out for it now. So that'll rally me for my weekend. I'm sure. Yeah.
It was by far the least complicated episode of these 2 seasons together.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. It was like, you see the players in place. We know what the stakes are. And they cut out all the sometimes I feel like the show, there are too many characters. That's my biggest complaint about Game of Thrones. Because I actually feel sorry for the people who read the books because they know what happens. I'm being surprised every week.
Yeah.
I love it. But I do feel that one of the weaknesses is too many characters. I'm like, Weasley guy, that guy, fat guy but he's funny and I like him and it's very cold out. But I feel like with this.
Varys. I think that's what you're talking about.
Yes, exactly.
Varys.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, and then but Joffrey, like I
cold.
can't freaking stand him.
Yeah.
I want to see him go down. There's so many great lines. I stopped writing them down. There were just too many.
Yeah,
awesome
I was trying
lines.
to write down quotes too, and it's just like, this is a good quote.
You know
this is
who
a good quote.
I thought had the best lines though? The Hound. I've never heard him speak so much. I think all his lines in this episode probably totaled the rest in all the other episodes.
Also, chicks dig scars, so that's sort of like it's sort of it's like tattoos today. That was scars back then.
Yeah.
Right?
I still like the scars. I mean, the most interesting characters are the ones with the scars because they have the stories.
Right. Yeah.
I need to get some scars here.
He's been waiting
Scarred
for...
men.
You like it?
Scarred men apply.
All mine are emotional scars. You don't see those.
I don't want to see those.
Well,
I want to see your physical scars.
Whoa.
I got maybe a couple.
Who can battle for me, I live a dangerous life. I need someone to stand guard.
Dangerous life in the city of Los Angeles.
That. Okay, I get it.
Yeah. And anyways, so many good lines in this episode, and all of them involving fuck. I pretty much every one, like,
Did you should have written a list of
Here's one that doesn't for you. Sansa talking to Joffrey. This was a good little snub there. I will pray for your life. Or she was talking to Tyrion. I will pray for your life just as I pray for the kings. And Tyrion just kind of looks off like, oh, I know what she means, because she's not praying for Joffrey at all. So I thought that was
where did he go at the end of the episode? He kind of disappeared.
Yeah, I guess...
you guys have read the books.
He went to his chambers.
Well, things change between the books and this. And I'm
really like The Walking Dead. It kind of does vary in a way.
I'm going to say that I'm generally okay with things. It's just more like there are certain things in this battle tactically wise that I was looking forward to that didn't happen. Like Tyrion had constructed a giant chain that he had raised at the back, and all the ships were going to sail out, and then the wildfire was going to attack all the ships. So then all the ships that tried to retreat would get blocked by this giant chain that he was going to raise in the lake, so they couldn't even retreat. So that was a cool tactical element that I thought was awesome. Like, oh, wow, you thought of a way to make them not be able to retreat from this wildfire, which I get. Money-wise, there's no way for them to possibly do that.
Digitally, you could do that, right?
Maybe.
I guess.
It might not be believable, though.
Budget-wise, this seemed like one of the biggest episodes, just because of all the battle was
I love
immense.
When the rock fell on the guy's head, every single one of us in the room
we all gasped! Like, ow!
I close my eyes at all of the violence, but...
We're on the floor by the end of the show.
I don't like it, but I do feel... I enjoy it when directors and writers are responsible about their violence. They're not like, oh, it's so fancy and beautiful, look at this violence. I feel like Game of Thrones has been...
not Quentin Tarantino.
No, they've been very good about being like, yes, this is violence, and it's ugly, and it's gross, and this is what it looks like if you want to deal with it.
This is the cost of war.
Yeah, so I appreciate... As a cartoonist, do you feel that way at all? What is your opinion on violence?
Oh, the more violence, the more you can draw. The more...
the
more action.
Is your drawing of us very violent over there?
Is it a drawing or a drawing? Because
drooling. It's only because I don't have a Sharpie. It's this small pen, and I gotta
get this man a Sharpie, please.
but I did notice one thing tactically.
Oh my god,
that was not really what a military general would do. When you light the arrow, then you can see it coming.
Right.
And you can step out of the way.
Yeah,
it looked cool.
It's like a glow stick at a rave. You can totally notice it like immediately. Yeah, you don't want...
That makes sense.
But it looked so good.
Yeah, like you said,
visually it was amazing.
Visually, it's very cool, and that's something that was a little different from the books too. In the books, they were already fighting with each other before all those boats came out with the wildfire. So then it was even more. Tyrion basically sacrificed people's lives to pull off that trick, so they wouldn't think it was a trick. And that was something that I noted with kind of a difference here was that. Davos Seaworth, the guy who's kind of Stannis Baratheon's right-hand man, he, in the books, is really cautious about it. He's like, I think this is going to be a trap. This doesn't look right. And then here in the show, not so much. He's just like, it'll be fine, whatever. And he talks about with his son, which I think we should talk about, too.
They really needed their Admiral Akbar, you know what I'm saying? I mean, they just really
It's a trap!
It's a trap! It's a trap!
You got it down by now.
Yeah, exactly.
I really felt like Stannis or Davos was hesitant whenever we got that first shot in the beginning. It sounded like he was very hesitant going into all of it.
Is Stannis dead? Like, it seemed like he died.
Oh, Stannis?
Yeah,
in the
Stannis.
end, I saw people just, like, bringing him in. So I think he's going to be presented.
Think he's okay?
Yes, I saw that he was okay.
It's like a quick shot.
I'll just go with that. Yeah,
I know, because you're not going to say, but like
he knows. Can't tell you.
There's some stuff where I'm like, I don't know, because I feel like you need finality. If a major character is going to die, I want to see it on screen.
I felt like there's a lot of I think the first 20 minutes of this episode were before the war even started. So the whole time it was like, I want the war. I want some blood and deaths.
Oh, you got it though.
But I was waiting a lot for it.
There were some moments where Cersei's exposition was dragging, because it'd be like, "Hiya!" And then she'd be like, and then Jamie and I, when he went to, and I was
awesome.
like, okay, this is like the first couple of monologues are okay, but now it's getting like a little bit long.
I felt like it was supposed to be like juxtapositioned with the war and like her getting crazier, and how awesome would have it been if they pulled the Romeo and Juliet and she just drank that poison and gave it to her son. That would have been amazing.
Or if she just had a total meltdown. Like, I would have been happy if she like really really lost her, what, or just
One step
something. But it was
further, I
like
would've been
marbles.
happy.
Yeah, it was like she was almost at a breakdown, not quite. It was really mild mannered. I don't know. I wasn't
But it
thrilled
was
with
fun.
that
I feel like she's
contrast.
actresses have dated in a way. Kind of. That was her whole take on that character.
That's where she was going with it.
Kind of crazy actress.
She's like, this is my breakdown.
She was definitely. I liked it. I thought she was doing a great job with it.
No, she was amazing.
And every
She was
interaction
amazing.
with
I agree
Sansa
with that.
too, which was also cool because it was straight from the book. But every interaction was just like so like you get her backstory and this really
Right.
negative way of like her trying to teach Sansa how to be a queen, but it's really her talking about her
And
life in a way.
she's just accepting of how effed up everything is. How effed up the reality is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And drinking wine during the whole time, which was great.
At
That was
first-
awesome.
and
was
forcing Sansa to
laced.
drink it too.
Yes.
At first, I thought the essence of Nightshade
Right.
was in the wine, and she
It
was
was,
like,
wasn't it?
No, she saved it for her
Oh,
kid.
You were
Oh,
so
right.
right.
I thought they were like with each glass. It was like glass 1, glass 2,
thought that
glass
too.
That's
3.
That's a
exactly.
great point.
That's what I thought at first too. And then when she
Okay.
was with her kid, I was like, oh, now she's just going super psycho. I guess that's where they went with it.
It would have been awesome, though, if Sir Ilan had killed someone, some of the girls, or started killing because if they got the messages wrong.
Yeah.
Like when Lancel or whatever came back and was
I
like...
agree.
Like, there should have been one step further, like a Romeo and Juliet.
Somebody
We
could have
messed up.
died somewhere,
Yeah,
right?
I wanted someone that shouldn't have died to die. That's
Tyrion's not gonna be dead, right?
I don't know.
I don't know, but he got sliced in the face.
Something else you guys pointed out, though, I think if they would have went to the Wall or to Daenerys, it would have taken away from Battle. Because
Agreed.
Battle was the only
Yes.
place I wanted to be this episode.
No,
Yeah, they did a great job because they stayed focused on one storyline. And the problem with the show sometimes is it's all these multiple storylines. I'm interested in most of them.
Yeah.
But it really does get a bit confusing. There's just too many characters. Staying focused on this one storyline was perfect.
No, I'm not
It's probably the
disagreeing at
best-
all.
It's probably the best episode of the series since it's been on. Period.
Yeah. I'm really glad they did it too because
Yeah.
I thought it was great because all I wanted to see was the war, so
Right.
it was exciting to just be able to watch what you wanted to watch
And
the
it's
whole
not
time.
really over. It doesn't feel like it's over to me. Right?
Oh, the battle.
No,
the
not
war.
Yeah,
quite.
it doesn't feel like
the
it at
battle
all.
was won. The war
So
still
to speak.
continues.
Yeah, exactly.
In many places. I want to pull out another quote that I liked a lot, which was Lord Varys. Way back in the beginning, and this was Varys talking about the bells ringing for horrors.
I totally
and then,
agree with him.
And he's like, Tyrion's like, well, what about weddings? They ring for weddings. And he's like, exactly. So I thought that was great too.
He hates all bells. I
It
do,
was one
too.
of the most is wittiest even a word? Wittiest? Yes, I think it is.
Yes.
Episodes
We'll go with
by far.
There was
Just
Yeah, it was
there's so
definitely in
many.
terms of the best lines. It really was the wittiest. Yeah, I think. Yeah,
So
if it's not a word, you should.
Yeah,
it actually is.
I love Tyrion's
Is the word
quote.
wittiest?
Wittiest. Another quote from Tyrion I loved was Tyrion saying, "If I'm a half man, what does that make all of you?" For his kind of war rally to get people riled up. I think that's great.
Also, the half man chant. I'm going to do that at bars randomly in Hollywood.
Half
Half man, half man, half man,
man.
half man. I feel like if you're a half man, you really need to thank Game of Thrones for making being a half man sexy, making it sexy again. But I love the season finale. I can't wait to see where it goes from there. And I feel like it's actually, I actually like when they kill off a character on Game of Thrones because I feel like it just actually helps me keep up with the show more. It's like, don't have to keep up with that guy's story again. So, but I can't wait to see where they go with it. And I specifically avoid the books because I just want to be surprised by watching the TV show. I know that sounds horrible to say, but like, it's really a time management issue for me. There's too many things I have to watch for work, too many things that interest me personally. So, I avoid the books, which is easy. But I will be watching the show and tuning in definitely next season. Now, Mad Men. Holy crap. This was a great episode. This was actually the episode before the season finale. And oh my God, it was so great. So let's just get right into it. The Mad Men AfterBuzz TV was actually hosted by John Comerford. Kevin Undergaro was on the show. Catherine Tulich and Phil Svitek. I hope I'm saying that right. Phil Svitek were on the show. Great group, lively discussion, except for the fact that we were in a room that was like a closet, and it was so hot in that room, I was starting to fall asleep. So I was not particularly. You're not going to hear me. You're not going to hear me actually speak up a lot during this. But I think it's a great discussion, and this is a show that, like Mad Men, is something where I just love the look of it. I feel like this is a very nerdy thing to say. I feel like if they ever make a Fantastic Four movie, they should set it in sort of like the mid '60s Camelot era and have it be a period piece. In the same way that Captain America was a period piece, they should make the Fantastic Four movie a period piece in sort of the Mad Men era. I think that would be really cool. And Fantastic Four, it's my gateway comic. What can I say? I want to see a really good Fantastic Four movie one of these days. Frankly, it hasn't even come close. What am I thinking? All right, I'm not trying to derail this. I am derailing it. That's part of what I do when I'm a guest on one of these shows. In any case, so, all right, on to AfterBuzz TV, Mad Men style.
I really feel that Lane, what's going to happen with him, is going to be a zombie in
For those
Walking
who can't
Dead.
see, this is Chris Gore
Right.
doing his imitation.
Yeah, it's a horrible imitation.
No, it's very nice.
I think that Greg Nicotero is going to make him up as a zombie for Walking Dead.
Take him over to
He'll be that.
cross
Zombie Lane is going to be
Yeah.
back in September.
There was a whole part of him that was Walking Dead in this particular.
Right. Well,
season.
the way he killed himself too was just hanging. I mean,
Right.
that.
And again, they extremely. What do you say? It's hostile isn't the right word, but to do it at the place where your coworkers are and the manner in which he did it.
Well, he was trying to make a statement at one point. It
Clearly-
was either Jaguar, which didn't
exactly.
work,
But
and
also
so he went
but
back to the office.
But also, Jaguar, his wife's going to find him. It wasn't just the Jag. I mean, that's a whole. I mean, your wife's going to see you there.
Yeah.
I mean, then to do it at work and in front of and hang yourself so that the door is, so that they have to bust into you.
And the resignation letter.
And the resignation letter.
Such
So
a
it doesn't
message
say anything.
to Dawn, message to Dawn. I did it.
Boilerplate.
Not a
Yeah.
word.
A message to Dawn, like, okay, this
Yeah.
is what you did.
This is what you did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what do people feel? Do you feel like Don really did the right thing, or do you think he should have shown more sympathy?
He was too much of a hard ass. I think he was too much of a hard ass. For sure.
I don't.
Because they were going to give those
Bonuses.
He should have
Yeah.
just. He said you should have just asked for the money.
Yeah.
But I mean, here's the he should have. He should have
It was a
done all
breach of
those
trust
things. But
for sure.
Yeah, exactly. You got to fire the guy. You can't trust him. Man. He has the run of your company in terms of its money.
Right.
You can't trust. There's no way.
By the letter
keep
of
him.
business,
Yeah.
he had to fire
Yeah.
him.
He had
Right,
to.
yeah.
However,
Yeah.
however,
Yeah.
we are all humans, and
Right.
and because none of us are just super successful
Yeah,
people,
and I
like
mean-
we're the regular people, and so regular
Yeah.
people are like, no way, come on, give
But
the
here's
guy
the
a
thing.
break.
He did. Really, in business, he should
He
have
did.
fired him right there and escorted
Put
him
the
off the
stink on
property.
him, right?
Don't even let him have the weekend. I mean, I was thinking he was pretty generous. Take the weekend, figure it out.
And also
whatever
putting the stink on him career-wise.
Exactly. Yeah, he didn't blackball him. He wasn't going to
Normally
do.
you would.
And he's telling him, look, you'll. I've started over many times. You can
But,
too.
yeah.
He's not stopping his career. It's just stopping there.
It was just interesting the way he responded to John. Basically, like, yeah, everything always works out for you.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. I think Don
yeah.
assumes everyone is like him in some ways. That he didn't realize that Lane just doesn't have his strength, doesn't have his ability to reinvent himself. He didn't see that. I mean, I know he probably did business-wise. He did the right thing, but I just felt like Don just didn't see how desperate he was. That when he just laid his heart out, going, Don was kind of just so calculating, going, this is what I have to do, without sort of realizing he'll be fine. He'll be fine.
But the money was all over
Yeah.
taxes. How
Yeah.
pathetic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That it was just taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not even in the country he lived in.
Yeah, well, I think this is also a tragic kind of American English story. This is also
Right.
what I've seen with the Lane characters, because, he tried to break away from this very strict English
Right.
upbringing and job, tried to come to America to reinvent himself,
Do
become
his duty.
freer, and it's kind of just a tragic story, isn't it?
It's horrible.
Horrible.
He came to America for a new life, and it
It
ended
eluded
horribly.
him like it's eluding everybody. And the
Ended
American
horribly.
dream is just lost on everybody.
Yeah.
It's just not happening. But I still think that
How are those taxes when you're, an expatriate? Like, how are those?
You want to reveal my... Well, no, what he was saying was a portfolio, right?
his portfolio
Because he folded it to actually...
to fund
but
the
British,
business.
but I think British taxes were horrible. That's
They
why
were-
that's
they
why
were.
that's why all the rock stars changed. The Rolling Stones and
But so
Elton
were ours
John.
back in the 60s.
Yeah, they were like 90% tax in the UK, so that's why
well,
they
we
all
were-
left the country.
I just wanted your perspective. I think it would add something.
When he goes into his office, the big Mets pennant
Right there in bright
Yeah,
red.
right
the
there
Mets,
in his
the
face.
losing New York franchise.
Yeah, exactly. Because they weren't the Miracle Mets until '69.
69,
Until then,
right.
they were losers.
They were just the losers.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. So, you would never see him with Don would have a Yankees fan.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
They're the winners.
He's the kind that would believe in the Mets.
You know, it's interesting though.
Perennial losers.
The wife said, "You came home to me. You came home to me
At the right time.
on time."
Yeah.
It's like,
That's
oh
all
my
she
God.
cared.
And and then when they started talking about Easter, he and Joan, I just
Resurrection,
was like,
renewal,
oh, no.
rebirth,
Yeah.
and of course crucifixion.
And
And
Jesus,
he's
the
being-
first zombie.
Going back to our zombie.
Yeah,
Was the first zombie.
great point.
Yeah.
Put that down.
No,
but
that's
wait,
true.
do you
Yeah.
think that? So just talking about Easter, will
Yeah.
there be any resurrection, John? I mean, there's. If he
Well-
did he die for anyone? I mean, sins and how
Well,
does it relate?
and then you get it's commissions and fees, which I thought was very interesting.
It's
title.
paying the piper, right?
Paying the piper, because you're paying the fee for things you've committed, your commissions, and the fee you pay for those, as opposed to the commissions and fees you might get for a work job well done. I took it the other way, which is the things that you've committed, and he's paying the price for the commissions.
He's paying
of his crimes.
Wow.
So that's where I went with it. But will there be a
So did
resurrection?
Lane pay for everybody for the firm?
No, he's not Jesus. He did not lay the sins upon himself for everybody
So
else.
he's paying for his own
He's
crime.
paying for his own. Yeah. But I think there's going to be a resurrection? No. I think this whole show is going to end badly.
Yeah.
It's like Breaking Bad. I mean, it's not,
Well,
it's not going to end well.
There was an interesting, like a few weeks ago, a couple episodes ago, where Don was looking. He looked down it was like the elevator
The
shaft.
elevator shaft.
Yeah.
I think that the title
depths of hell.
sequence is the end of the show. He's going to jump out a window.
Well, I mean,
No, I'm serious.
yeah. So
I
you
know
think
you
the
are.
That
title
is the end.
sequence?
I'm talking
You
about
mean the whole end,
it'll be
not this
bookended.
season.
I'm talking
Yeah.
about the series finale.
So you think that iconic figure of the ad man falling down through the buildings?
Will
You
be-
think that'll be the
Yes,
Totally.
yes.
bookend of the show?
Absolutely.
Interesting. Okay, so that's our prediction for that. That's
No,
very
Wow.
The
interesting.
prediction for series finale is
Yeah. 'Cause we got a
Don
couple
somehow being
more.
driven to jumping out a
To
window.
jump.
Well, he's
Wow.
certainly his soul has already headed that way, so his
Right.
body's sure to follow. Like, why
Right.
not?
Because
Certainly Lane's gone that way.
All the stuff with Megan is like
Yeah.
with her acting career and this, and she's making friends outside
Yeah.
of the ad world, and they all have these crazy like liberal ideas, which
Mm-hmm.
are in contrast to what Don thinks. It's going to end badly,
Oh,
even
yeah.
worse
Everybody.
than the Betty divorce.
Okay, no, just finish up with Lane.
Phil,
Go
before
ahead.
we jump off Lane, Phil, you have nothing to say about this?
Yeah. You too busy?
Let's go.
Let's
Phil,
see. What do
producing?
I mean,
Come on.
Phil's thoughts.
well, in terms of Joan, as soon as I mean, she took it obviously the hardest. I mean, she's the female of the group, and I really think that she thought about the last words to him was basically "F off, guy."
Yeah.
And the fact that this is the only guy who actually cared enough about me to set me up in the right way, and I wasn't, and especially since Joan's been that one person where she can basically gossip and kind of nurture everyone. She's the psychiatrist
And
of the
she-
group,
and
and
you-
she didn't do that for him.
That's right, and she
No.
always knows what's going on, and she didn't in that moment.
Yeah.
But I feel like now at this point, after death, she connected the dots and said to herself, he was at the end of his
Yeah, when
end of
he
his
came
rope.
into my office, he
Yeah.
was
He was
wanted a
reaching
tether,
out.
and I didn't throw one.
Yeah.
right.
he's
He
He
reaching
wanted
out.
a
She knows-
lifeline, and I didn't give him one.
and I didn't give him one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great
So-
point.
And we're already seeing the repercussions of her actions. She's hardened somewhat because of her actions last week.
Absolutely.
Which, by the way, we will be teasing for our news and
Just an
gossip segments,
interesting
'cause
interview with
Catherine Tulich has an
post
interview
last
with them.
episode. Yeah.
But
But
So-
isn't everything related to Joan hardened? Just in terms of, forget it.
she had
Did you
makeup
guys
on.
think she was going to lose her virginity? I kind of thought
I was
she was
nervous.
her virginity.
Well,
I really thought
I
she
thought
was.
so too.
I thought so too.
Because Glenn has a high creep factor.
Oh,
does.
that's really
Yeah, he
creepy.
does.
He's
Yes.
an angry little boy.
Yeah.
I thought about it just for about 5 seconds. No, then that's not going to go there.
And
They're
I'm
not
glad they
gonna go
did.
there.
I couldn't handle it with
No.
Lane today.
No,
Like,
that would have been too much.
Yeah.
Right.
But
That'd have been almost jumping
But
the shark.
you know, just
territory.
it's just great writing, writing by by the writers, where it was for Betty to be able to say to her, she needed her mother, and she said, I
Yeah.
told her just ask another woman,
Ask another
which
woman.
clearly you're not. You're
Yeah.
just a
Yeah.
girl, Megan.
Yeah.
Just another girl in Dawn's life, but I'm a woman,
Yeah.
and I'm proud of it, and I'm a mom, and just with her embracing.
Yeah.
But what about how
Sally.
she sort of
But
took
still,
it such
so
a big deal to
desperate.
embrace her? It was like I mean, it wasn't a natural kind of mother instinct.
No,
at
it wasn't
was
at all.
like,
Because if you go 2 days ago, she was yelling at her, calling her daughter all kinds of names, and how she wanted to kill her.
But it doesn't look like they've hugged very often at all.
She's not a woman at all.
But because she is a girl. She's just a big
Exactly.
brat. But in that moment, maybe, she felt a little bit of motherhood and womanhood.
Yes,
And
exactly.
She embraced her back, which
and
once she realized it.
Yeah, but again, she's such a child.
And she was just
in the
talking,
process.
what she was saying about, responsibility and how that's what it takes to be a woman. And
the
again,
talk about, it's, means
Well,
you're
how about
ready
this?
for babies when you want them.
She became a woman by finally understanding that, you know what, maybe I need to learn from my mother instead of, hating on her.
Right.
I mean, is
Well,
that the...
I'm talking about how
we're
Betty's
talking
such
about
a
Betty.
child.
Yeah. I mean, for the child, for Sally, it's a natural instinct that every kid does that.
Yeah,
F you,
they
mom.
have
F
to
you, mom.
rebel. Yeah,
Mom! They cry and they go to their mother.
And that's what you'd expect from however old she is. What is she, 13?
She's probably 13,
whatever the hell.
If I can point out the production design with
Sure.
that, like I knew Dawn and her, I knew that they were going to kind of get on the same page again as parents.
Sure.
Because Dawn was in the blue tie when he was talking to her, and she's in the exact same color blue in her little outfit, ski outfit.
Yeah.
So I knew like that they were going to have some
come
moment
together,
here
right.
where Megan wasn't going to fit in, wasn't really going to know how to handle this.
Mm-hmm. I also, I really liked when Dawn came home. She's had a bad day, and Megan's all pissed off because he didn't call about Sally, and he says that you got to deal with her. I have a big meeting on Monday, and she said I have an audition. He just opens the door and says, "Hey, you're gonna be alone on Monday. Deal with it."
You're not going to school. That's it.
That's I said. There you go. I like
right.
that.
And you're not going to school.
That was my
no
dad.
one was going to compromise.
That's the father I had. There was no, oh, I hope you're all right with this. He's like, shut up.
Yeah, why isn't that sort of parenting should come back?
Yeah.
Not all this, I want to be my kid's friend. It's like, no, shut up, do what I say.
No,
Yeah.
Bring that back.
I'm sure there's a happy medium somewhere in there. Exactly. I would love for not to be the friends. Like, that's the worst thing you can do as a parent is to be your kid's friend.
Yes,
they have friends
agree.
for a reason.
Well, look at that conversation with Megan and the other girl.
That's what I was like. What are you doing?
At the diner.
But even Megan was aware enough not to. She's telling her a friend across the table, so he's, what are you doing talking like this in front of Sally? She's just a little girl.
But still letting her have coffee.
It's still letting her have good. So she's again aware enough to don't say that in front of her. But have coffee. Maybe you should order a drink. It's like, oh my God, what is the
right?
Does
the
the red
hell?
hair match the curtain?
Exactly. It's like, come on. What happened to the boundaries? They've lost all kinds of, and I know that's what they're talking to and they're speaking to, but it's clearly evident that they don't understand boundaries or where to put them or how to hold them. It's just a mess.
And like I was saying, they were using food and alcohol and drink as a metaphor because later on she was like, my stomach hurts, and Glenn's like, maybe you're hungry.
Yeah,
you're drunk.
And well, that was kind of peppered through because none of you hungry, but that's what the happiness about what Don was referring to later. You're never going to be satisfied.
Never satisfied, yeah.
That was great. Well, such a parallel to what he was saying.
Exactly.
We'll get into that, but what he was saying and what Glenn was saying.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And we will get to that.
Yeah.
But crazy. But what'd you guys think of her conversation at the museum with Glenn?
Yeah.
She's like, I don't like the mustache. And
yeah, but that's where it was kind of getting like, where's this going? And that's what it was like when he said, I told my friends that I've come into, I guess, but
could Sally be a lesbian? Is that?
No, I think she's just that. I think she's just at
young.
that age where she wants to have a boyfriend, but is afraid of what that means because
she doesn't know what that means.
I think that's why she doesn't like the mustache because that's too adult.
She's still a little girl, you guys. That's
I want the innocence. Exactly.
That's why she hugged the mother.
That's why she ran back. I don't want to talk about all that. She doesn't even like. Of course, what girl/woman does want to talk about or deal with your period when you first have it? But she's so desperate to be an adult, but she really wants the safety and innocence of being a child because it's a much easier life than dealing with the
And
adult.
again, very natural because most young girls, they want to play adult, but the minute they...
the minute they have to... the way she looks so like Megan with the boots and the little miniskirt stocking thing. I mean, she was Megan's little girl. I mean, little sister is what she looked like.
And then Megan was talking to her about having a boyfriend.
Yes, exactly.
About, at the cafe, she was saying that, they make you feel special.
Right.
So I think she's kind of
holding hands is enough.
Yeah, but
Again.
I think Sally feels like I want to have a boyfriend, but she
Right.
has no idea what that really means.
Yeah, exactly.
She's got a fantasy of what she thinks it is.
That's why she says,
It
involves
don't think I like it that way.
That's what it involves.
I'm really curious to see what they do when Mad Men ends as a series. I really want to know what happens to Sally. I think it'd be great to cut to present day with an aged Sally somehow remembering her parents. I think that would be really cool. The season finale, I loved it. I feel like what I love about Mad Men is you can never expect where it's going to go, and every sort of season break, there's a jump in time where you kind of have to figure out. It takes the first couple episodes to figure out exactly how much time has passed. And then with the context of the characters. So I really do hope they sort of take it through to the end of the show, and so that we get to see the fate of everyone. But I do think that things don't look good for Sally. Your parents divorced. Everyone has disappointed her. She's getting involved, and I think she's going to be a bad girl. Sally could end up being a stripper. Next, I was on a show. It was at True Blood AfterBuzz, which was hosted by J.C. Rubio. Roth Cornett, hey, my good friend Roth Cornett was on, and Yerman Gurr, which I love that guy's name, and Patrick Ian Moore. Patrick Ian Moore, of course, you heard on a previous episode, Improv for Humans, with Matt Besser. And Patrick is someone I do comedy shows with at IO West. Patrick just happened to be with me. I don't know what we were doing. We're going to let's just go to AfterBuzz. They've got a really cool TV. Let's watch it. And we brought beer. And then for some reason, the show I was going to be on the Mad Men season finale episode. But then Kevin was out of town with Maria because they were actually on the Stern show. This is what happened. And then I was like, oh, bummer. But they didn't get in until the next day. But they said, hey, come be on the True Blood show. So I sat in on the episode having not watched the first episode of True Blood at all. And my buddy Patrick Ian Moore sat on the couch and actually added a couple of really hilarious comments. So here is the AfterBuzz TV True Blood episode.
Okay, Chris, now you said you jumped the shark, so...
It's jump the coffin.
Jump the coffin, hashtag jump the coffin if you want to tweet us that.
Yes.
No, but, all right, do you think
At
it's because...
Chris Gore.
At Chris Gore, there we go.
Yeah.
So many supernatural beings. We've got shapeshifters, we've got vampires. Is it just too many?
No,
yes.
never.
No, it is. Yes,
Never.
it is. That's why I stopped watching the show. Yes, it is
Too many storylines.
There's too many storylines and too many things that are I can believe a couple fantastical elements.
Right.
But it seems like they just continually throw in new fantastical elements that make it seem ridiculous now.
Okay,
Like where's Creature from the Black Lagoon? They should just throw
I
that
hope he's
guy
coming
in.
up.
And he should
I
be
hope
playing
he's coming
guitar.
up. Good. He's welcome to my monster
But what
mash.
choice do they
God.
have? What choice do they have? Because even in the first season, at some point you had to wonder, vampires. I mean, maybe as soon as you see a wolf pass by in the shot, you're like, wait a minute.
Here's the thing that bugs me. We're not talking
have something about wolves or magic or something.
But they're not talking about. You guys are not talking about Sookie. The heart of the show is Sookie wanting to fuck two dudes at the same time. It's the same plot as Twilight. So
Kind of.
Have they gotten back to that?
Here, okay, so let's address issue one first. Comedian. This is the thing.
What do you say, comedian?
That's because Patrick no longer has a name.
What? Patrick is. He's here.
He has an identification. So
he is a comedian.
Listen.
All right.
Okay, so here's the thing: is that when the first season of the show, I thought was tonally excellent. It was this great mix of a little bit of satire, drama. It had a little bit of horror to it.
Agreed.
But then it went crazy, and for a while I was like, I don't know where this is going, and there were elements to it that I didn't like.
Can I stop for a second? Because everything you're saying reminds me of girls I've dated. It's just it starts out that and it goes.
We're not talking. We're
Not
going to
talking
get
about the
drunk
sex,
later.
just the fuck.
And then talk about that then.
Okay, cool.
But listen, it's like a joke in this sense. Like certain jokes, you say something, you repeat it, and then all of a sudden it's not funny more. And then you repeat it a few more times, and it gets really funny. And then by the seventh time you've repeated it, for some reason it's hilarious. And so to me, with True Blood, the more outrageous, the more outlandish, the more of a ridiculous monster mash it can be, the more campy it is, the better a show it is at this point.
So you're saying I need to smoke pot and watch the show because
Absolutely.
that's what you described.
We do not endorse the opinions of Chris Gore.
What I'm saying is what you're describing is stoner humor. That stoner humor is when you tell the same joke 50 times and then it's funny. That is the very definition of stoner humor.
Weigh in.
Patrick Ian Moore,
Could we get a consult on stoner humor,
He was picking up edibles today.
I probably was. I can't remember now. I thought it was cool when it originally came on because there were so many elements that kept it different than something like Buffy.
Right.
But what you're saying is like making it more like Buffy.
But it's too late for it to go back to that first.
But isn't it following? It's following slightly the novels, right? You know, it's okay. It's not following, but it's following the creatures. It's following the creatures.
Yeah.
So I've heard.
I always hoped it was going to be about, and seriously, like the people who manufactured the True Blood drink. I thought it was going to be about that business and like.
Okay.
Because the posters all around Hollywood,
right?
That's what it looked like. So I thought the show was going to be about the drink.
It's not, though.
More than anything, and like the politics of it and everything.
Well, no, the politics of it are coming more into play this season.
Right, this season.
The politics was interesting. The first season, I think, was really perfect, and even the beginning of the second season. But then it's just, to me, it's gone off the rails to the point where I didn't watch it. So. For everyone either listening or watching this, I have not seen this. You guys have seen it. I don't care if you spoil it for me because you're not spoiling it because I've lost interest.
No, okay. I saw you get interested in 2 moments already, and we're not even
Tara getting killed.
Yeah.
I got very interested.
You got interested.
Also,
then,
love your nail polish too, by the way.
Thank you.
Roth has. Okay, you have to describe your nail polish.
It's I don't know.
It is so badass.
Blue.
It's the coolest blue. It's like Fantastic Four blue.
Yeah.
Could you get that like on?
I love it.
I would call it Fantastic Four.
Could you get it like on Amazon?
It's made of unstable molecules.
You could, in fact, get it.
It's a nerd reference. Sorry, no one will get it. But
I got it.
Roth, how would I get it on Amazon?
You know what you should do?
You know what I would say? Before you go shopping online at Amazon, first go to AfterBuzzTV.com and click the Amazon banner at the top, and then go shopping as you normally would. AfterBuzz gets a kickback on each of your purchases at no extra cost to you. It's a way to support AfterBuzz TV so we can keep doing the after shows for you. Thank you for that. Go to AfterBuzzTV.com, click the Amazon banner, and go shopping. He just did a plug. That was me.
Enough said.
Look how professionally I
brought to you
cracked
by
that
that
out.
Chris Gore.
Yeah, it's you know.
Okay, so you
anyway,
got
so
interested
I love your
by,
nail polish.
Okay,
you got interested by siblings having sex and by Tara getting shot.
I never want to do that.
Here's what I think we should do. We should throw, because that's what the show did. They threw all kinds of stuff at you. Let's throw him all the taglines and watch his eyes get increasingly bigger and bigger.
Then go for it.
Into the fold.
Yeah, let's see.
Do your worst.
You were going to
do
talk
your
about
worst.
the politics.
Yes.
The politics are going to bring. They're going to come back, especially with Christopher Maloney. He's one of he's one of the guys from The Authority, and it all ended last season. If you remember Nan,
right?
Nan, she was. Now, what was Nan's job with The Authority? She was more of like the spokesperson.
She was the public spokesperson.
Oh my God, she was hot.
Yeah.
Wait, was she the
she was hot. Can we all agree?
Yes.
She was hot. Roth said she's hot. Roth, if you ever thought about being with a chick like her,
it's
like
older
Nan?
blonde.
Yeah, go on.
I mean, she's a little dommy.
Go on.
You know, for me as a woman.
As a woman,
I think, yeah.
But those thoughts, because you watch the show is very, the show is very pansexual, right?
Yeah.
Pansexual.
Absolutely, yeah.
Clearly, with the siblings
or trisexual
now.
in its true form.
Siblings like maker, makey, progeny, whoever.
Yeah,
everyone
trisexual.
isn't available.
How does that make you feel?
How does it make me feel?
Yeah.
It makes me feel excellent, Chris. I enjoy watching this.
Where does it make you feel excellent?
All right, now with that said,
that is not this kind of podcast.
Is this
Amazon.com?
So close to her?
You should have really watched the show.
See, this is why you want to watch the show.
See, we're pulling you in. I'm telling you.
kind of pulling me in.
But the politics that you mentioned that's exactly probably what they've been listening to, because for the first time, that's most likely going to be the crux of the underlying argument. I think what happened probably was that Russell Edgington's storyline did really well. People were like, okay, we finally get to see what's going on in the vamp world, which, as you said, was what we were probably pulled into in the first place from the first season. We were going to see this, like, how vamps interact with humanity. Yeah. They obviously have their own political system, their own business. They are plugged into the business world. They have power here and there, and it's a clash because some of them want to be public and obviously some of them didn't.
Right.
And then they just literally jumped the coffin. Then we've got Maynards and werewolves and witches and Wiccans, and then the whole thing was like, wait, what happened to all that? So then they're bringing that back. So now we finally get a chance to see in the vampire world.
I want to get back to the core story, which is Sookie. To me, Sookie is the core story in terms of the person that I want to see everything. I want to see her reaction to everything. In addition, it's vampires integrating into society, which is very much, in terms of an allegory, it's gay marriage across the United States. That's to me the core. I don't give a crap about the werewolves and this. It's a little too Twilight. They sort of took a page from Twilight, sort of the worst parts of Twilight, and then expanded upon it.
Why are you hitting me?
And you could hit her.
I was hitting because
it's all for love.
I was hitting you because
we are 15 minutes into our season premiere, and there's already fighting in the studio.
Yeah, he was making a reference to something that there was also an allegory to in the show. Guess what?
What?
We've got gay undertones in the show now too.
Well, that's been there from the start.
From the beginning.
Yeah. You mean more gay undertones?
I think what you're saying though is that with the Fellowship of the Sun, that was actually about
that was a great
subplot, and it was about fundamentalism and the sort of the dangers of the fundamentalist point of view. But now, what I think is even more interesting is that we're going to see that play out inside the Vampire Authority, and the two factions of the Vampire Authority is that they're going to be a fundamentalist faction in the Vampire Authority, one that's against. The two factions are for integration, against integration of the vampires in the human world. And I think it's any sort of disenfranchised group. But yeah, it certainly can relate to gay marriage for sure, but any disenfranchised group. But the thing that's going to be cool is that what True Blood does is it highlights that even sometimes when you're right, you're wrong. So even if you've got the right point of view, which I think probably the people that want to integrate do, if you're too fundamentalist about it, you're wrong again. Plus sex, Chris. Bringing it back, there you go.
Keep talking. See? You got me interested.
There was lots of it.
So lots of sex. Let's talk about it, because pretty much if you sign on to be an actor on True Blood, you're going to show your ass. Maybe
your taint. They were kind of restrained with the nudity, weren't they?
Yeah, because we didn't. Nora and Eric, when they had it was kind of covered up.
The female werewolf, that her breasts were covered by her hair. That was something unexpected. You'd just think they would just let her just hang.
You did see Eric's butt, by the way. Okay, you guys, hang on for a minute. You brought up Sookie, Eric, and Bill. How do you think that the Eric fans who are like pro Eric and Sookie are going to react to him banging this other chick? Do you think they're going to be upset?
Who cares?
No, they're not, actually, because as long as they see Eric naked, they'll be happy.
Okay.
And I've known that from many. You see all women write about, oh my God, I get to see Eric naked. That's all they seem to care about, instead of Sookie and Eric getting it on. Because Sookie, I think this season, everyone's going to be alone.
Yeah, no, I think so too.
Well, yeah, they'll keep you hooked in with the unrequited love, or the thing that keeps coming back. They're like, oh, I hope they find themselves back.
Well, no, and the reason they're going to be alone is so they can grow.
Yeah.
And maybe in season 6, we can introduce some more supernatural characters.
Probably more supernatural characters.
But I think that the love triangle thing. I think the love triangle.
Let's just get right into mythology.
Yeah, exactly. It's more Cyclops.
It played itself out. The love triangle thing played itself out by last season. Jenna and
Wait, they did a DP? What are you talking about?
No.
Wow. What can you say about True Blood, except that I feel like they're always making references to a sort of MFM threesome. There's sort of an inordinate amount of references to that. I feel like that's a thing. It's definitely a running theme. But I really want to thank everybody from AfterBuzz TV, especially Maria and Kevin, for having me on as an irregular guest. And then everyone that was on the shows with me, Dave Klein, Kristen Snyder, Bethany Gaber, John Comerford, Kevin Undergaro, Catherine Tulich, Phil Svidek, JC Rubio, Yerman Gurr, and of course the lovely Roth Cornett. Thank you so much for having me on. And if you want to check out more AfterBuzz TV shows, you can just go to AfterBuzzTV.com. You can follow them on Twitter at AfterBuzzTV, and you can like their Facebook page. I'm sure it's AfterBuzz TV. Just a guess. So there you go. Hey, what about our show? You're gonna go check out the YouTube channel, right? And you're gonna be sending us a video. You can write us podcrashwiththatchrisgore@gmail.com. Also follow us on Twitter at PodCRASH. You can follow me at thatchrisgore. You can like us on Facebook.com/podcrash. Also, do me a quick favor. Go to iTunes. Give me a review. Hopefully 5 stars if you think I deserve it. And then post a review of the show. It really does help boost our ranking on iTunes, which helps other people discover the show. And with that, I have one last thing to say, which is, let's get out of here.
No time. Suck it out.
Eric, I can't. It's too gross, and it's You?
I...
Oh, son of a mother... Got it.
Other one.
You're kidding me. Oh. Oh, God.
What are you doing?
I sucked silver out of Eric's chest and saved his life, even though I really didn't want to.
She was superb.
Hey, if you're still listening to this, you're probably a lot like me. You're the kind of person that watches way too much TV, and you love to talk about it and, you know, listen to shows like on AfterBuzz and watch all the credits of TV shows that you love and look for all those names and look for that little logo that appears cleverly at the end of television shows. I love them. Some of them are really... Bad Robot's a really cute one. And if you're the kind of person who watches television shows to the very end credits to look at those cute little logos by the production companies and or the creators, that means you and I are a lot alike. And I like you. And for that, you shall be rewarded. Send me a self-addressed stamped envelope to PodCRASH with that Chris Gore, 5042 Wilshire Boulevard, PMB 1500, Los Angeles, California, 90036. I will return that self-addressed stamped envelope with a surprise. And if you continue to listen, you'll get a bonus piece of audio, which I think is very entertaining. I hope that you enjoy it. Later.
It's so funny to see how the distinctions between the different races, because like vampires, they're kind of elitist jerks,
right?
And then like the werewolves
anyway.
werewolves are kind of white trash. Let's be honest.
They're not. They're not actually white trash. I'm pretty sure that connection is very obvious.
No, but panthers are really white trash. They're like meth addicts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to say
Good
wet
point.
panthers.
Those are the inbred Jeds. Yeah.
What were you going to say?
Yes.
No, exactly what I.
Yeah.
Where panthers are the white trash.
Where
panthers. Which brings us to where cyclops is.
Where does cyclops is
Now
rank?
that would be really awesome if you got
where's cyclops.
If somebody bit you using one
Rothy,
eyeball.
what do you got?
I like what you're saying. Where you're saying that it's like looking at like class distinction.
It totally is class distinction amongst these sort of races of creatures.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. But I think
where do fairies rank?
That's like an underworld.
I think that's the weird thing about fairies because
Fairies
I
are
don't.
popular kids. Fairies are like the Kim Kardashian